Thanks, Olivia. I would like to welcome everybody to the January 17th Administrative Services Committee meeting. And we'll start our first item, approval of the 12/12/22 minutes. Need a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion to accept the minutes. Second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Privilege of the floor. No floor privileges? All right. So we will close the privilege of the floor. Our first item is local law intro 123, a local law amending local law 1322, providing for a management salary plan for county officers and employees. Personal technician.
Hi. Debbie Mikowski, Director of HR.
Good
So-
job, Deb.
So that was just the walk of shame because we mistakenly forgot one position in our original local law proposal. And it just happens to be a position in my own department. So that was a tough conversation to have with that employee. However, this is just the step to correct the mistake. The personnel technician was originally a range 3, so we're proposing to move it to a range 6 in accordance with the majority of the other moves.
So it was the forgotten position.
The one forgotten position.
You're forgiven.
We call that an OFP, a one forgotten position.
Okay.
Okay. We live in this world of acronyms, so I had to use one. Okay, any questions or comments or concerns about this local law?
I don't.
Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our second item, local law intro 2-23, a local law amending local law 1322, providing for a management salary plan for county officers and employees, a media information officer, also known as an MIO.
We're hoping the MIO is not MIA anytime they're needed. Now, County Executive P.J. Wendell, thank you so much. So as we talked before, the request was put in last summer for this type of position, and when I was asked to come up with a job description, it mirrored a position that was used in, actually with Erie Two Bose's as a public relations. We don't need a public relations officer, we need somebody who's involved with media. As you know, Friday before Christmas, instead of noon, my office was here until after about 3 o'clock, putting out a media release for the storms that were taking place in the North County, whereby we did issue a mandatory evacuation order. That would be the type of activity that MIO would be involved in, would be drafting that media release, getting it out to the proper media, and they would be the person who works almost 24/7, or be at least on call. The reason why we also went away from having a civil service position in the title was, again, this has happened in this Monroe County, where they did put that title, and the person said, I work 9 to 5, thank you very much. After hours, well, will be another cost. So knowingly, we're going to stick to the same salary range. I know Legislator Nebel had requested it to be under $65,000. The range, again, is within those limits. Yeah, but again, that's the focus right now. So we're looking for somebody that's going to not only be involved in the media releases, but also, I guess, media production. We like to do some infomercials, if you will. Departments have asked, can we put information out there, putting them on our Facebook sites? Can we get somebody that would update all of our Facebook, all of our websites, et cetera? So we have one continuous message for all of Chautauqua County government. And ironically, in the last month or so, as Debbie has seen, a lot of departments have requested, boy, it'd be nice if we had somebody that could do this for us. I think Deb Maggio, who's a contractor for the county through Office of Mental Hygiene, put out a request, and a lot of people responded, yes, if we had somebody that can do this, it'd be great. After, the storms that took place, Christmas Eve, 2 days before Christmas, we realized that this position is long overdue. And I've said it before, when you look at just counties across New York State, like size of ours, bigger or smaller, have these positions. And it's really a necessity as we start to move forward in the technological age, but also just in the information distribution that we have coming here. Everybody expects things to happen now, so we need to focus on that. Question?
I guess.
Yeah.
So, and I know you touched on it, when there aren't the emergencies and there isn't the need for someone to be I'll call it the face of Chautauqua County, not that you're not,
Yeah.
but this person will be the one that addresses the media and that type of thing.
Right.
What else are they doing?
Setting that up, they'd be setting up any media releases or press releases that go out from, like right now, that channels through my office, sometimes last minute, but that would be something that, along
Like
with.
general press
General,
releases?
yeah, I mean, in any department, the health department puts out a lot, even when we're not in crisis. Any other department that puts, out information. A lot of the departments want to get their Facebook pages up or web pages up and running more frequently or updated more frequently, so this person would be involved with that job pretty extensively. What we've seen right now is, yes, there would be an ability, definitely to maintain this person in a full-time.
Other counties are doing this?
I went to NACO 2 years ago, National Association of Counties, and I sat in a room full of 300 people, and they said they were going to ask the question, how many do? And they said, let's turn it the other way. How many people do not have a PIO, which is a Public Information Officer? About 6 of us raised our hands, because this is, for example, we've seen it, the Salman Rushdie incident. Those are types of incidents that, we could lend assistance, but there were things happening here, throughout the county. Any type of, God forbid, we have it here in our own county. We need somebody that's going to be dedicated to getting the information out, getting correct information out, accurate information, and that's would be their sole purpose. It's several times, in those critical incidents, which we I believe have happened or will happen in the future, that will be the person that addresses that. So it would give a little relief to our department heads sitting down, and over time, this person would have a database of quotes, would know the department heads, know how they respond, know their positions on things, and make it an easier transition. Instead of trying to have one person get it done, if you will, you're going to have somebody that will, be able to take this and do it professionally and get it through. Yes.
It's kind of like our universal press person.
Yes.
That sounds like a great idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
I find it interesting though, when I go to buy a computer, I'm just gonna use a computer, the salesman is so much more the face of the establishment that I'm buying it from than the person that's loading the information. So I think it's gonna be an interesting search to find that person who can eloquently speak to the media and put things together in the back, because I usually struggle talking to the guy fixing the computer or loading it. And that's not a criticism of people that work on computers. It's just the salesman's a whole lot easier to talk to. So to blend those, I'm excited to see how that's gonna.
We were very fortunate, and when Deb first came on, I asked her to rework this because I want to focus on somebody that has production experience. What really spurred this idea is we had a gentleman who worked for the county through Office of Mental Hygiene a couple years ago. He came to us with a background from working with then Senator Funke from Rochester. He started his career in television with then sports anchor Rich Funke. So Kevin, the person I'm referring to, knew, for example, when we did our press conferences, we do them at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, or maybe even 4. Nobody would show up. Like, we're putting this information out. None of the mainstream is catching it. He goes, they're already doing their production. You need to have the press conferences 1 or 2 o'clock. We switched to 2 o'clock. Boom. We've had the major networks here. We had other people. So those types of things would just get us. We were making it happen, but we weren't being effective. And in this day and age, the effectiveness of our messaging, efficient messages, when we have storms, when we have closures, when we have anything, to be that voice. And she's not going to be like the White House press secretary, where they
Right.
speak all the time.
Right.
They'd be the person that would prep it if it's something quick, or, myself, or, another department head was involved in something, they could speak. They would know what our responses are. They'd be able to answer those quick press questions. And unfortunately, I said department heads have all reached out and said, we definitely see a need for this. There may be one or two say, I don't need it, but the rest of them have said, yeah, we
Right.
definitely see the need.
And my comment before had nothing to do with John D'Angelo. 'cause
I'm not
he
done
is-
taking
He
it.
is not only smart and good with computers, he is one of the most eloquent people in Chautauqua County. So,
And budgetarily, so what this position is already in our budget.
Wow.
As the safety coordinator, we left that position in my budget as it has transitioned over to Noel Gutman. And we did budget for equipment for this position already, in the anticipation that it would get passed. So, somewhat, forward-thinking, if you will, presumptuous, depending on how you look at it. But we do have equipment ready, to get this person up and running and, really to have the tools necessary to make this an effective position.
So that, with the district attorney's office and the sheriff's department, they would be of,
This person will be countywide, yes. It will be out of my office, so the budget, contrary to the messaging came out during our report on our employment status, it will be out of my office, but it will be a countywide. So again, should there be an instance where we have a major issue, this person would be at the beck and call of the sheriff and the DA to organize, orchestrate those messages and making sure it's going out, effectively and efficiently. That's really, get back to my statement from last year, effective, efficient government, and how that message gets out is important.
our DA is very eloquent also. I just want to make sure he knows that. So if anybody sees him,
Let it know.
let him know, okay?
is in the back of the room?
Oh, he is? Oh, is he here? Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh,
But, one of the things we found in talking to other county executives across the state and even across the country now is, I'm on the board of County Executives of America, that messaging is so critical nowadays. The right message coming out, is so important to, one, calm the residents, two, alert them, so there's one message going out. They're not getting mixed messages, mixed signals. We're at that point.
Okay, anything else? All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Next item, proposed resolution. Close Office for Aging Services Petty Cash Fund.
Good evening, Kathleen Dennison, Budget Director. We are required to bring a resolution to you every time we close a petty cash fund, even if it's for the extremely significant amount of $250. So there is a petty cash fund in Office for the Aging that really has not been used in some time, so we would just like to close it.
Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Yes,
Opposed?
very riveting revolution,
Carried,
resolution, this one.
Keep them coming, those are the. All right, that brings us to our next resolution, amend the 2023 budget for county physicians.
And I am here this afternoon to ask you to consider tabling this resolution, or I would defer to Patrick whether tabling or withdrawing is the correct action. I have, number one, I think this resolution needs to go to Health and Human Services Committee. But also, I have been having a lot of conversations with the health department, and we are working back and forth on the budget for the medically assisted treatment program, and the numbers are in a little bit of state of flux. So we're not ready to amend the budget at this time.
Withdraw it.
Just withdraw it, okay.
So how do we do that?
Make a motion to withdraw it.
Just make a motion, okay, I need a motion to withdraw this resolution.
I'll make a motion to withdraw this.
We have the
resolution.
motion.
Second it.
We have it seconded, all in favor of withdrawing it? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Withdrawn. All right. Wow. moving right along.
This is why the district
The
attorney's
next item we have on the agenda
here. So this is why the district attorney's
a
here.
discussion, Mr. Barmore with weights and measures, but if you don't mind, Larry, we've got a late resolution that I would like to take care of first. And that resolution is titled Setting Salary for a Discovery Expediter. Oh, you are here.
How do I live up to this?
Well, clear your throat first.
Good evening, Jason Schmidt, District Attorney.
Hi.
How are you? We're trying to reshape the office to deal with a dramatic change and a shift in the laws under which we work, which really took effect legally January 1st, 2020. But due to the shutdown through the pandemic, really we haven't seen it realized in the criminal justice system until somewhere in the middle of last year. Everyone's aware of the changes in the bail laws, but really what should get just as much press is the burdens that are placed on prosecutorial offices as a result of the dramatic shift in the discovery laws that took effect. And under those discovery laws, the prosecutors are responsible for disclosure of all materials related to criminal prosecutions that are generated by various agencies outside of the DA's office. So it's our job really to get those documents and materials. They consist of body cam footage, dash cam footage, could consist of medical records, not just police reports, but laboratory reports for forensic testing and so forth. We're supposed to get those, disclose them to the defense, and then file certain documents with the courts. And if we don't comply with those laws, then the effect is that evidence gets precluded and cases get dismissed. And we have experienced those types of challenges, which have been very difficult for us. So one of the ways that we are attempting to deal with this is by reshaping the office to convert a legal secretary position, which could be filled and it's unfilled now, to a discovery expediter. What we're looking for here is we're looking for an individual who has some computer savvy and understands how law enforcement captures their body cam footage and retains those, so that we can liaison with those outside agencies and we can actually go into their systems, pull those the footage and put it into our digital archive so that we can then turn it over to the defense. Even though we've met with police agencies and we've conducted training sessions with them, they are just as overburdened as we are in trying to comply with the discovery laws. And so when you speak with the evidence custodians, whereas traditionally they'd be responsible for retention and testing of evidence that's obtained as a result of a criminal investigation, now they're inundated with body camera footage requirements. You know, you can imagine how an officer that's doing an 8-hour shift may come back with 5 hours of body camera footage, and on that body camera footage may be 15 minutes of relevant material that has to be disclosed. They don't have the manpower to get it to us in a timely fashion. We're getting hit with it because we're imputed to have knowledge and control over this stuff. So what we want is we want to get somebody in that can be responsible for that. We've already talked to Jamestown Police Department to see if we can have access to their systems. Jamestown Police is responsible for about 60 to 70% of our criminal prosecutions. We're going to reach out to the other agencies as well, but we need somebody who can do this. So that what we're seeking to do is take the money that the legislature has already allocated for a legal secretary position, reallocate it towards this new position that we're trying to create. We've been working with HR. Debbie's been terrific. Debbie has kind of looked at this and figured out how to fit it into the civil service framework. And it appears as if there are positions that have been created by other jurisdictions for in order to solve the same problems that we have. And that's, this discovery expediter, and that's sort of the genesis for us coming before you today.
Just to add to what the district attorney has spoken about, HR has determined this position will be a CSCA grade 12. We've estimated the cost of this position to be about $62,100. The legal secretary position that we currently have vacant in our office should cover almost the entire amount of this position. The vacant position was budgeted at $63,223. We also anticipate some vacancies in our ADA positions for at least 1 to 2 months, which should also assist with covering the cost of this new position.
Okay, now you've answered this question, but I'm gonna ask it just to get a yes or no. So the position of that secretary position is going to be eliminated, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like a good deal.
Any other questions?
Mr.
Comments?
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
You
I-
certainly
I just
may.
did, but, now isn't there, these positions are funded by the position would be funded by the Discovery Grant, correct?
This position will not be funded. Is not funded currently. The legal secretary position was one of the local share funded
Oh, okay.
positions. But we are able to use grant funds to fund this position because it falls within the parameters of the Discovery Reform Grant that we've received for 2023 through about 2025.
So if you switch from a legal secretary to this position, you would be eligible for more revenue than you're currently expecting, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So it could potentially lower your local share.
It could potentially lower our local share.
Okay.
That's a good question.
I think they rehearsed it.
No,
Yeah, they
we
talked
didn't.
about it last
Nope.
night.
Very good.
Thanks for the assist.
Did well.
Well, this looks like something that'll allow you to do your job better and more efficiently, so, yeah, sounds good. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item,
Couldn't
discussion.
resist.
Weights and measures, fees. Larry Barmore. Come on down.
Yes, please do that. Could you do that to mine too?
Evening. Larry Barmore, County Clerk. This is Robert Calhoun. He is the Director of Weights and Measures.
Thank you.
For anyone who doesn't know, our Weights and Measures Department is tasked with checking every device in the county used for buying or selling by weight or volume each year. Scales, delicatessens, scales on cash registers, junkyard scales, gravel pit scales. We also check fuel delivery trucks, every gas pump in Chautauqua County.
Blueberry Farm scales.
Yeah. Actually even go to Joanne Fabrics and check their tape measure. I mean, it's everything by law. We have to check anything that's sold by weight or measurement. And best I can tell is we are still charging the same fees that we charged in 1998. The state Department of Weights and Measures sends out a parameter of what you can charge at the discretion of the Director of Weights and Measures, which is Robert. Basically, everything I'm going to discuss tonight doesn't require any legislative approval. I just want to inform the legislature what we're doing in case people question you as legislators. And I'm assuming that you will all share this at caucus with your fellow legislators. We're going to be at audit and control as well. But just as an example, When we go in and check a scale, we charge $10. We have a man here who makes $100,000 a year. Come on, laugh, Bob. But he drives a $50,000 truck using $4 a gallon gasoline. I guess we get it more like $2.65 though. And he'll drive to, say, Casadega to the grocery store there. They probably have 7 or 8 scales throughout the store. The first 5 are $10 a piece, and after that, they're $5 a piece. So for 7 scales, we would charge $60. Doesn't even begin to cover our cost of what it takes to go out and do it. And we're not out to make money. We're out to protect the customers, but we don't want the customers to have to make up all of the costs in their taxes. We try to divide it between the merchant and what taxes we're gonna use. So basically what we're going to do, well, a gas pump, for example, across the street, there's 2 double gas pumps. Each one pumps 3 grades. So what Bob and his team does is they go over and they grab the lowest grade on this side of this pump, and they slowly pump 5 gallons. And then they record how it comes out in the measurement. They then have to go dump it back in the tank, fill out the paperwork, show the store that they pumped 5 gallons worth of gas and haven't paid for it. And then they go back to the same pump and they pump 5, they say you pump it slow or fast?
Slow.
Okay, now you pump 5 gallons fast. And then you go back and you dump it in the tank. And then you go to the highest grade. And you assume that, well, anything in the middle is a blend of the two anyways. Do the same thing. You pump 5 gallons slow, 5 gallons fast. You take it back and you dump it in the tank. And we've been charging $20 to do this. So we're going to increase it to $40. The scales that we charge $10 for, we're gonna increase to 20. The next bunch are 5 apiece. We're gonna increase to 10. I mean, we have a few other things like we check bulk tanks at farms. Some of these farmers have 12,000 gallon bulk tanks, and we have to fill them with water with a garden hose and measure the water. And there's some formula for the difference in weight between water and milk, and I don't know, Bob's got some fancy thing he uses to figure it, but it's an all-day job, and we've been charging for the last 20 plus years, $120. So we're gonna increase that to $240. I mean, that's the most expensive thing we do. A lot of times we get some of these big car scales at the junkyards and things like that, and they need to have weight measurements that we just aren't capable of doing, and so the state comes in, and Bob just goes and observes what they do at no charge. Well, the state charges them money. It's like everything else we do for the state. Just as an example, we just got a new proofer, which basically is how many gallon can is it? 100 gallon can. We'll drive to Neil's, well, we don't go Neil's propane because we're not measuring propane. We're measuring fuel oil and gasoline. But wherever they do that, licked is Keystone. And we will pump 100 gallons out of the truck into this tank that's on the back. And then there's a pump that we can pump it back in, because obviously we're not going to pick it up and dump it. We spent $37,000, I think, on that new thing. And, we've been going out and doing this job for just a few dollars, and, it's about time we got a little bit more. So anyways, we wanted to inform you of that. And should people call and say, gee, it used to cost me $70 a year, and now it's costing me $140, you know why. the unit pricing law, which came out in 2003. It set parameters of how much you could charge for doing the job. Basically, it just said no more than $1,700. Somehow we picked the figure of $1,000 back in 2003. And what this law does, it allows the store not to have to price each individual item separately. They can put a price on the shelf and then just put the product in there. Bob and his crew goes in, they've got this real fancy, expensive scanning gun. They pick out 25 items at random. And they write down on the list what it is, what the shelf price is. And with this scan gun, they just scan the item, put it back on the shelf. And then after they get 25 done, they go up to a cash register, pushes a button that shoots out 25 barcodes. So now you just have to run those through the cash register. And we check 300 items in a store, unless it's a really small store. We might, convenience store, we might choose to only do 150 or whatever. They have to have 98% accuracy. Yes, ma'am.
Do you check clearance items like at Walmart?
We do.
Cause I'll tell you what. You wanna find a flaw in the system, it's when they're advertising something's on sale.
And it doesn't ring
and
up
it's
on
ringing
sale?
up full price, I said, oh no, these
Yeah.
are on that clearance rack over there, you don't go with 500 candy bars that I won't eat, but I'll buy them for friends. You know, that kinda thing. And then I have to argue with the girl about the that you have to go back and look, and she's all upset, she's gotta
Yeah.
run over there and.
Friends, she said, but.
When Bob first took over, he didn't have an assistant yet, so I used to go out with him. And I let Bob do the, complicated stuff, and I keep the records on the paper. We used to have fun. We'd go to Kmart. We see an item on the shelf, $99.99. We go up and ring at the register, 1 cent. That's okay. It didn't ring over the price on the shelf. They're not, we're there to help them as well. But, that store was so much fun. I mean, Bob's really happy to see them close down.
Is it only an error if it's over?
Over, yes,
If it's under,
We
right.
let them know that it's under so they can correct it, but we don't charge them
That's fair.
against them, because
Mhm.
as a consumer, you're not gonna be mad if you're charged less for something.
and how much do you charge for this?
$1,000.
And how much are you gonna charge?
Well, we went through different things with legal over the years, and you have to come up with some way of not charging everybody the same. So we decided that the fairest way would be square footage of the store, sales area. Basically, if you have under 6,000 square footage in your store, which is basically, for the most part, convenience stores, like the Sinclairville Superette. Actually, the Frewsburg Tops Market is that small. The Rite Aid down here in Mayville is way under 6 feet. 6,000 square feet. So we have decided that we will not change these stores at all. They're not nearly as hard to figure out. I mean, we can go in and do one of them in a couple hours or so. It's not like going to Walmart where it may take you 5 or 6 hours. So we've decided under 6,000 square feet, we're gonna leave them alone. From 6,001 to 50,000 square feet, we're gonna raise the price $250. So it'll be $1,250. And for the superstores, which there are 9 of them, over 50,000 square feet, actually, I think they're all over 100,000 square feet, but nonetheless, we're gonna make those 1,500, raise them $500 each. So, with these 3 different changes in our pricing, the unit pricing law is gonna bring us an extra $21,750 a year in revenues. And changing the prices on the scales, the gas pumps and all that's gonna bring in an additional $14,500, which just puts us a shade over $36,000 in additional revenue. Our local share in this year's budget for weights and measures was just under $50,000. So this is gonna get us down around $14,000. When I first came here in 2014, I think the local share was almost 150 grand a year. So Bob's hard work and different things we've done, we've managed to work our way downward.
When will these numbers go into effect, or they already have?
Probably the 1st of February. Bob and I haven't really discussed that yet. But sounds like a good time. We were gonna have a resolution before you tonight, but it didn't get pre-filed in time, so we're coming back February for that, I guess.
What notification process is required? I mean, you just.
None.
None? You just do it?
Most people really don't even know what they pay. You know, if, I mean, granted, your little mom and pop store, but all your other stores, they all just send it off to the main office. You know, some girl writes a check somewhere. Yeah, or some guy. You never know.
And the superstores and the big stores, you do all this every year?
Oh, we do every single store every year, yes.
Okay.
Bob sends out a notice that they're up and that they need to fill out the application and send the check in, and they mostly do.
Do they know you're coming?
No, no, they do not.
How many stores are there?
Well,
101,
yeah,
Got the list.
Oh, okay.
$22 generals.
yeah,
Are they really?
they've helped a lot at $1,000 a
There's
piece.
one near you. Okay, sorry.
But yeah, they don't know we're coming.
They don't know what it is.
We try to stay out of their way as much as possible because, I mean, we're walking up and down the aisles and customers see us working and they think we work for the store, so they're asking us where things are and we try to help them out as much as we can. Yeah.
Price check on aisle 3, price check.
And then, you know, the law says that they have to set aside one of their cash registers for our use while we are there. So they also have to have somebody to operate it. When we're checking 300 items at 25 items a time, that's 12 trips to the cash register. So 12 different times the cashier's got to come over and bring those items all up for us as we check them. And when something's wrong, then we usually all walk back to the item and look at it. And then come back forward again. It's not too hard in Crosby's, but when you're at Walmart,
Check the sale items.
We've been over this.
yes. So, I guess if you got any questions, I wanna make sure that, you know, you can share this information with all the other legislators. And I don't foresee people making calls, but I'm sure somebody will call their legislator.
Are the prices currently listed on the notification or no?
I do list what they are due to pay when I send the notice out.
Oh, okay. So that's how you'll do it with the new, yeah.
And really with the small stores, where it would make the most difference, they've got 2 scales maybe. You know, it's gonna go from $20 to $40. It isn't going to bankrupt them.
Do they give you the cash that day?
No,
No.
we do not pick up cash.
No, I meant
No,
a check.
yeah. Well, I don't know what you're doing now. I know Bob's former boss, before Bob became the boss, would not allow him to even bring a check back. I said, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, because then they gotta mail it, we gotta wait for it. But he was the boss, even though I was his boss. And so we did it that way. I guess I haven't had a discussion with Bob lately, but I'm sure if
Some
somebody
people do put a
handed him a
check
check, he'd
that
bring
way.
it back.
It's easy, yeah.
You know, what are you gonna do? Put a check made out Stockwood County and the county clerk and your own personal checking account? And you
Right.
weren't gonna get very far.
Business friendly, right?
Did you check my blueberry scale in January?
You still selling blueberries?
Just kidding. It's going up in February.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Get over to Bob's right
No.
now.
I don't even know where it is,
So I guess unless you have further questions, we'll see you next month with our resolution.
Yes, thank you for this.
Thank you.
And you're trending in the right direction.
We're trying. So far, since you guys chewed me out the end of last year,
Well,
I found about $85,000, $90,000 in additional
It's all you.
revenue.
excellent. We're working. Thanks, Larry.
Nice job.
Okay, anybody have any other? Not seeing or hearing any, we need a motion to adjourn. We have the motion to adjourn, do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a second, all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried, adjourned, thank you.
Nice job, Mr. Chairman. You did that eloquently.
If you're gonna give me candy bar, I don't want it. She said friend.
Wait,